welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry with Let's Talk Marriage. Hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, you are doing well. All right, we're going to get right on into our subject. Our subject on today is a strong foundation in a marriage. Hey, have you ever wondered why some marriages seem to work out, why some people seem to get along very well, and it seems like they just a perfect marriage, and they just be walking and gazing in each other's eyes and holding hands and can't get off the phone with each other. I call you back. Oh, we got to go. And you ever wonder that? It takes a lot, and you don't know what those people had to go through to get to that point. Because when you have put two people together, it sometimes they're different personalities, and a strong foundation has to be built. There has to be seeds planted, and it has to grow into a strong foundation. They don't just come out of the bed like that. Trust me. Marriage with a strong foundation. One of the key things with a marriage with a strong foundation is having a strong friendship with your spouse. Sometimes you might have it before you get married, or sometimes it develops, especially if you didn't know the person after you met them. Because sometimes you see people, you already know them, but you haven't really met them. But after you meet them, you can have a strong foundation that's built as time go along. For instance, a prime example is the tree. Like a tree, you see a tree that's built, or you plant a tree. It's small. Sometimes it don't have leaves or anything on it. But as that tree grows, you got to realize that tree is going to go through storms. It's going to go through rain. It's going to go through wind. And that tree, one thing about it, if it's rooted and grounded, it'll bend, but it won't break. And that's how a marriage with a strong foundation should be like. It should be planted, rooted, and grounded in God, with the both of you being part of the Lord's kingdom. When the wind and storms and troubles and of this life comes toward you in your marriage, the wind, it'll bend, but it won't break. So that's how our marriage with a strong foundation should be. It should be rooted and grounded like a tree. That's because when you root and ground a tree, and one thing about a tree, you have to water it, and that's the same thing with a marriage. It has to be watered. You have to plant seeds in order for something to grow. If you want a strong friendship to grow in your marriage, you have to plant seeds. That in that way, this strong friendship will develop in a marriage. And when you have this strong friendship, there's a bond between husband and wife that can't not be broken, even with the wind. And a lot of times, a lot of marriages go through times, especially when you first get married, you go through times where you both might be struggling financially, and that's usually the major part of things that are happening, or things that go wrong, or conflicts that started in the marriage is usually financial. But if you have a strong foundation, that's just another storm that you're gonna weather, and you have to learn how to weather the storms when you have a strong foundation. That's how you do. You learn to weather the storms. You learn how to, for better or for worse, you know how to get through those things that hinders you, or the things that causes conflicts in a marriage with a strong foundation. Simply a strong friendship is basically intimate knowledge of that person. You share their hopes, you share their dreams, you share their challenges, and sometimes you share their foes, you share their friends. Because normally when you're a married couple, most of the friends that you have are, you might have known them, but they become your husband or your spouse's friends as well. They know them, they know them like just if they know you from, whether they're from your past or your present. And that's part of being having a strong friendship in a marriage. Does that mean that the marriage is going to be perfect? No. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage. Just like, for instance, there's no such thing as a perfect Christian. I know a lot of folks want to think they are, but there's no perfect Christian. But the thing about it, you strive to be a perfect Christian. Just like in a marriage, it might not be perfect, but you strive to have a perfect marriage. That means you work on it. You water, you plant seeds. When you want something in a marriage, you have to plant a seed for it. And part of having a strong foundation in a marriage does not always mean sex. That's a major part of it, but it does not always mean that's the main part of it. But it should not be the main part of it. It's just a part of it, and it's an important part of it though. Because intimacy does not mean just sex. You could just mean holding hands. This means just looking at each other or just engage in a conversation about your dreams, a conversation about your hopes and things that you're looking forward to in the marriage. That's part of being intimacy. But then when you get to the point where you want to be intimacy, don't use that against your spouse. Like some folks, when they get mad, yeah, you ain't get none of this tonight. You can't. You're not supposed to be doing stuff like this, especially as Christians. Because, once you get married, your body's not yours, it's your husband's. So you're coming against the word of God when you're like that. We met a couple years ago and around the time we first got married. And I remember my wife said the wife of the guy that we had met years ago, we had known him for years, and she told her one time that never say never. Never say no. So that's part of being a Christian. So, and you shouldn't be getting mad and slamming doors and stuff because you done held out on your husband, because you got an attitude because he didn't buy you those red shoes you wanted, and you get mad and, well, you ain't gonna get this. No. You going around slamming doors and you don't go there. We should always work together and learn. And part of the strong foundation is communication. Now, communicating with each other, it's not as easy as it sounds. But when you have a strong foundation, it becomes easy to communicate. When you first get married, there's going to be times where you're having a problem communicating with something. But as you grow in a marriage, just like a tree, you learn different areas or different branches that you can relate to, or where you can come in and bring up certain subjects and talk. Just the same thing as with your children. If you have a strong relationship foundation with your children, they should be able to come to you with anything and talk about any subject, and there's no big surprises and things like that. Because if you don't have that strong foundation and that communication in that marriage, sometimes some things could come up. You didn't, I ain't know nothing about that. And you should share in everything. You shouldn't have, where you handle the bills and she don't know nothing about it, or she handles the bills and you don't know nothing about it, and something come up. Well, I didn't know that. You both should be communicating on things in that level, or during your conversations, you should be able to discuss things of that nature, and things, intimacy things, work things, business things. You shouldn't. She don't know nothing about this. I handle this. No, you still discuss it with them, so they'll be part of it. In other words, you don't just go out and make a big purchase, and your spouse don't know nothing about it. You should never do nothing like that. If you're going to make a big purchase, you should sit down and discuss. And is it going to fit in the budget? Can we afford it at this time? Or what type of big purchase should we go over the top and get something extravagant, or should we just get something economical? And that's when you discuss it together and when you're communicating. A marriage with a strong foundation have been through storms, they've been through rains. So that don't mean that because you have a strong foundation in your marriage that you're not going to go through anything. Because every marriage you go through, you have your ups and your downs. But that's when you are able to weather the storm. And see, nowadays, most people don't want to weather the storm. They want to go home after one argument. I'm going home. No, see, you have to learn how to work it out, work those things out, and don't let the sun go down on your arguments. Make sure you make up before the day's over, and you have to have, in order to have a balance or strong foundation, one of the parties should be one of the ones that always say, I'm sorry, or the one that always give compliments, the one that says, oh, we're not going to go there, we're going to do this, and one that's reasonable in the marriage. So make sure we are communicating and learn how to stop running. Sit down and talk about it, and sit down and discuss things in your marriage. In order to have a strong marriage and foundation in your marriage, strong foundation in your marriage, it has to be that bond. And that bond is not developed overnight. That's something that you work at. There's seeds that has to be planted. There's growth there. Like that tree that I mentioned, the tree has to grow. And in a strong foundation in the marriage, that marriage has to grow. And when that marriage is growing, you'll have that strong foundation, that strong bond, because as the marriage grows, the roots grow deeper and deeper and deeper, and you're inseparable, and nothing can tear you apart. Folks can't come to you with some, because you already know, There's no surprises, and there's no big I's or big U's. In a marriage, you're both one. And when you have that strong foundation, that's not even a subject. That's not even a thing in your marriage, because you have that strong foundation. What your spouse likes. When you have that strong foundation, sometimes you can call them and they'll pick up the phone before it rings. So I was just getting ready to call you. That's when you have that strong foundation, and you know exactly what your spouse likes, what he wants, what he needs, his dreams, his visions. And you sit down and you discuss things like that. And you have that open communication where no one is worried about offending the other party. And when you have that strong foundation, you know exactly what to say and how to say it and when to say it. So we're going to work on our strong foundations and build on our strong foundation. We're going to water that tree of our strong foundation so the roots will go deeper and deeper in the Lord. And make sure that we have that time where we pray. Sometimes you pray together, and you don't. And just because you don't sit down and just pray together. Like, oh Jesus, oh Lord, yeah. You can sit down and say we touch and agreeing on something. That's praying together. Or if you say, we're going to be agreeing on this, or we're going to be praying about this. Or sometimes you even, you hold hands and you pray together, and you read the word or discuss something in the Bible. You don't have, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're sitting there with the Bible looking at each other reading. You can discuss something you read, something from Sunday school, that's sharing with each other. And that's having a strong foundation in your relationship. And a strong foundation is based on the Word of God. And marriage is blessed and God ordained marriage. So we want to make sure that we have a strong foundation in our marriages. This is Pastor Larry. I'm going to be signing off. And we hope you have a blessed rest of the week. I'll see you when I see you.